Luka Nation, episode 740 of Lucas Tigers and Bronze Oh My. You guys are probably tuning in, waiting for balloons and a ton of excitement.
Fireworks.
I'm proud of us. I'm proud of the community that we've built. More than anything, I'm proud of the hobby and all the friends that we've been able to meet. But I'll tell you right off the bat, I don't know how to celebrate. The way I celebrate is to hop on here and just do another episode, lean in, try to do research, and bring you guys value. That's the way I celebrate, because to be honest, we started with 17 listens in the first week. That's probably my friends, my family, and myself clicking on Spotify 14 times. So to the three of you that listened on the first week, thank you. And now we're record listens. I think last week we crossed 20,000 listens in a week, which is crazy. But I don't take that lightly. I know there's a ton of content creators. I know there's a ton of other things that you could be watching. And to spend an hour, 45 minutes, 30 minutes with us, that means the world. So if this is a 2-year anniversary for Lucas Tigers, all of you guys, I hope you're celebrating with us, because I really, truly appreciate that you guys jump on here, listen to us, comment, send us DMs, send us gift boxes, send us care packages. A lot of you that listen have become close friends of ours. And I'm personally looking forward to meeting a lot of you guys 2 weeks from now, or maybe 10 days from now at National. So that's my thank you to your anniversary, and happy birthday to my dad.
Don't buy it, folks. Don't buy it. Because here we are. It's episode 740 of Lucas, Tigers, and Bronze. 730 days into the mission, which means that 10 days during the course of this fun, we decided we were going to do doubles. We were going to do 2 episodes in a day, because one's not enough. Remember that? We did 2 episodes in a day a couple of times. But yeah, today we're celebrating 2 years. And this guy comes on here with his heartfelt, stuff. And, oh, yeah, and we're all friends. And I posted how I felt. Well, it was, I believe, emotional. It was, I believe, a nice thank you. And before we started recording today, I said, Andrew, go read it. And he read it. And do you know what he says to me? He says, did you text this to Kobe? Because if you did, he'd say, job's not finished. So don't buy it, folks. He's mean. So I'm 3/4 joking, but he did totally say that to me. Happy birthday to your dad. And, I don't think we should be celebrating. I think we should be thankful. I think we and we do mean that. And what you just said, it hits pins the tail on the donkey, as they speak, right? To anybody who is within earshot of this, to anybody who is playing this, wherever it is you listen to us, in your car, in your truck across country, at your gym, during your morning commute, walk, listening with your family, thank you. Seriously, thank you for listening. Thank you for being part of our family. Whether this is the first time you've ever heard us, or whether you've listened to us 740 times, or watched us on YouTube if you're out there, making fun of my ugly mug. If you guys stopped, we would be talking to ourselves. And I love Andrew, but that would get really, really old really fast. So, I'm glad you're out there listening and, catching Andrew's movie quotes in the recent episodes, because I have to talk to him. He's doing too many movie quotes.
Involuntary muscle. I only quote comedies. Comedies from
good.
The late 90s, early 2000s, what I think is a
lot of Vince Vaughn.
Period. Huh?
A lot of Vince Vaughn, Will Ferrell, the Wilson brothers, Owen, and whatever the other dude's name is.
The Godfather.
Yeah, I don't know. What's his first name? Zach Wilson? What's his first name?
Zach Wilson, yeah.
It's Owen and Zach. Those are the brothers, right?
It's weird, the hobby that, I think if there was a metric, I think Zach Wilson cards are up 30, 40% this week. And we're a weird group of people. We're a very weird group of people.
We are the hobby is weird. What will oh man. And what's funny about that is we are weird to the nth degree. I purchased a sealed cassette tape, thinking, those might be the next big thing, because we're always looking for the next big thing, right? I purchased a sealed cassette tape. Do you know what it was? I own one sealed cassette tape. It is the soundtrack for the movie The Graduate, which I've heard Zach Wilson is a huge fan of. I don't know if you're going to get this reference.
With Dustin Hoffman?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Mrs. Robinson.
All right, Google Images. I'm imagining a pictures
You
with
getting it? Yeah,
words.
you're getting it. You're
There's a
understanding.
few
So
pictures here, so I've got like 10,000 words.
listen, we spent a couple minutes on the thank yous. You know, obviously to each one of the Luka Nation listeners, thank you. To our partners, a big thank you also. One we'll talk about in the show, obviously PWCC and their weekly auction, collectible. We love each and every one of you guys, whatnot, and SGC Grading. We only mention these guys and our partners are the one because obviously we love those guys, but we've now done 740 episodes for free. YouTube for free, content for free, you name it, it's all out there, and those are the reason why we're able to continue to do that. So we have to mention them on our
messages. They're like, "Hey, I pay for stupider stuff. So have you guys thought of a subscription service?" Yep. And if you guys go back to the early days, I don't say it as much now because I think I was like, we're never going to charge for our content. That's never really going to be that. I never liked that pay for play model. It didn't make sense to me. I guess I know like OnlyFans and all that stuff. Patreon, but not my thing.
I get messages all the time that you would kill on OnlyFans. But so the PWCC auction, we're pivoting into it, right? We talked about Zach Wilson. Now, obviously, his cards are worth some money, but this one might be a little different. This, a little segment of PWCC, and we could talk about the hobby overall. I might want to spend 5 minutes talking about, my takes yesterday because some of the YouTube comments were interesting, and I think you were confused by them as well.
Right.
So, I want to make sure that we could talk about that. But the PWCC stuff, I want you to talk today because I come in here and I talk about the Michael Jordan cards and the whole 9 yards. And I do have one thing I want to talk about, but I want to know your thought without giving away all your secrets because you have become a PWCC auction expert. How many cards, round number, ballpark, would you say you've bought in the last month off of the PWCC weeklies?
300, 350.
350 cards. It's a lot.
50 to 70 a week. Well, here's what's happening. It's a bit of a culmination of factors. So one, it was a down market, and a down market is a symptom. The cause of a down market is usually a supply run. So PWCC and CSG reached a partnership, right, where you could send in cards and they grade cards through CSG, and then they're automatically listed on the PWCC weekly auctions. Well, think about what happens there. There's like this lower tier of cards, I would say to $10, which is the starting bid for weekly auctions, to let's call it about 100. I haven't seen a ton of CSG cards graded that sell over $100, but there's a huge supply run of 90s Griffey, 90 Jordan, not the shiny stuff, the base stuff, Griffey and his dad, Griffey and a 91 Star, 93 Upper Deck Jordan. You see the supply run where these cards go, I don't want to say unsold. The way you see that if they're unsold is the starting bid isn't met at $10. Right. And there's a lot of CSG cards hitting the market, and it's just very difficult to even catch up. Add on to that, people are liquidating and trying to get cash for the Dallas show this weekend, for National for next weekend. So there's all of these cards that are right in that $10 to $150 range that I think are some sick deals. And what's cool about PWCC is if you're just scrolling, you get to see like, wait a sec, there's 45 mosaic rookie cards of Zion, 25 prism based. But then there's some really cool cards that have been graded by CSG that are lower grades or graded by other companies lower grades that you're able to scoop up. So it's been, in my opinion, a buyer's market, and not just a buyer's market for like the cream of the crop, like the gold prism 2012s. I think it's been a buyer's market for unique stuff that is recently graded by second, third, fourth tier companies. Graded companies. No pause there, but I have another play actually that was really interesting. That's a little bit higher end. You're not going to love it because this guy talk about it a little too much.
Well, let's hear it. Or you want to popcorn it to me, and I can give my little 2-minute spiel here too. I love where you're going with it because it's more of an analysis of what's available for sale rather than, hey, look at this, Skybox Z-Force big man on court card or whatever, whatever it may be. So you're looking at the lower end, the $10 whole deal, right? I get my cues also from that. I mean, that's great. Cards that are out there that aren't being sold. You're kind of understanding the market. But if I could tell you, forget about the grade for a second. If I could ask you two cards that were, let's call them the poster children of the most recent run. I'm going to call it pump, but the most recent run. Cards that are rare in high grade. Let's call them rare because rare is subjective. But they are cards that are goats, like absolute goats, undisputed in my mind, goats of their specific genre or sport. But they're not rare cards at all. Like these are cards that you see at every show and in every auction in some grade or another. If I asked you to name a couple of those, what would you name? The Fleer Jordan is one. And how about a non-sport one? Poster children of the run.
Non-sport? Dude, I don't know non-sport.
Think Gary V. What would Gary V say are two cards that are going to be $1 million cards? The Michael Jordan Fleer PSA 10 and the Charizard. Exactly. See, you only needed two guesses. So there are PSA 9s of both of those cards. But let me ask you a question first. When a card like that is up for auction, how many people do you need to bid on the card for it to move?
It's only two. That's the cool thing about Whatnot, too. You get to see what really drives price, and it's a bidding war. Bidding wars are very fascinating to watch. This isn't like a shout-out to Whatnot by any means. It's just because you get to see who's bidding. When you see one name versus another name versus the same name that's actually what bids the price up. And if you get a third buyer in there, forget about it.
So if you're a buyer out there and you realize that sometimes pricing of things can get out of control when there are two bidders for the same item, and you might want to stay away from a bidding war, what would you look for then?
Thank you. Oh, man, you're leading me to water like a good horse. What I would do, so PWCC does a great job at this. You can go and search by weekly auctions. Mm-hmm. Right? So you can see last week, you can see this week, and you can see preview only for the following week. So what you're able to see is when this week has been bid up and there's a Zard or a card that you're looking for, the exact same card in the following week's auction, like the following week's auction card, and let this one play itself out. Because here's what's going to happen. These two bidders are going to bid against each other, bid up the price, and you might be able to get next week's card for a steal. That's what I've seen.
I think you're most likely very correct. And what if I were to tell you that for Michael Jordan's Fleer, and we can get into the whole, I believe the Fleer is getting beaten up now because of Star, and I don't think it makes sense, but we can get in. If you want content on that, I think every person who does content did something about that in the last couple of weeks. They all are on the Star jockstrap, and when everybody's on one thing, usually that's not what you want to be on. But I'll do you one better. What if the Michael Jordan in a PSA 9, what if there were two in this auction?
You love to see
and there's another 9 coming up in next week's auction. As a buyer, wouldn't you say, all right, well, you know what? There's one at 13. There's one at 12. All right, this might be one where I have an opportunity. This is what we talk about, how when things change, it's if you're a buyer, you can look for items. Now, you know this card. What was this card at its
opportunity, right? Because this is what you get from this show. It's not go buy this.
Correct.
It's watch how this plays out. It's an opportunity.
Yep, 100% correct. So what was this card at its peak?
I mean, I could go to Card Ladder for it.
I thought you knew. I thought this was one of those you were looking at, or I think you were looking at about this price in lower grade. Point is, if this is a card you're looking for, it's kind of gotten beaten down, and there's 2 in this auction and 1 in the next. Same with the Zard. There are 2 PSA 9s, both ending in the weekly auction this week. One's at 12, one's at 10.5, and I know personally at the National last year, I sold one of these for double that. If these are the cards that right now were in vogue last year, are not in vogue this year, and will probably be in vogue again next year. After people scoop up these ones at a bargain is relative. These are 5-figure cards, both of them. So it's
$90K at its peak last February, which
that's insane. But I look at these guys, and it's less about, I'm not telling you go buy a Charizard, go buy a Jordan. It's interesting to see this stuff play out, that these are the cards that were talked about last year as the ones, and now this year's narrative is don't buy, a card that's rare just because of the grade, buy a card that's rare because it's rare. If you sort the cards in this week's ending auction, these are 4 of the top 5 priced items. 2 Jordans, 2 Charizards. They're right there on the top, just sitting there waiting for you. And then there's a couple more Jordans and a bunch of other things as well. So that
Guys,
was just.
I want to ask you something in the comments. You guys know I've been a big crackhead recently. Would you have the cojones to crack a PSA 9 Jordan and send it to BGS or to SGC? Let me know in the comments if you would have that. Because the price difference between those two is a big difference. A big difference. And it's my belief that PSA does not want to give out borderline 10s on this card. They want to keep that 320 pop on the 10. The pop on the 9s is 2,800. I'm curious if you guys would have the cojones to crack that card and sub that BGS or SGC.
Crack that. Give me some more. So you got any other talking points? You said you had another card that I'm not really happy about. Let's hear it.
So back to GOATs. One of my favorite sets is the Flair Showcase. Flair Showcase has this legacy set. It's this horizontal card. I'll pull it up for you guys. And the Kobe version of this card is, let me pull it up, Kobe Flair Showcase Legacy is about 8,000, 6,000, 12,000, depending on the grade. Flair Showcase Legacy Row 0. I'll try to find it for you guys. I thought I had it pulled up, but give me a sec. My apologies, Cage.
Nothing to apologize about.
My point being with this, if you look at the Kobe of this card, it's in the 6 to 12,000 range, okay?
Yep.
The same card in a Jordan is 25, 26,000. Now I want to pull up the card that I'm talking about. It's the Shaq, and it's in this week's weekly auction, and it's sitting at $525, and it's the highest one ever graded. And I don't know why I'm struggling to pull it up.
It happens.
Oh, because it's Shaquille O'Neal. That's why.
There you go.
There it is. Boom. $525. 1997 Flair Showcase Legacy Collection Row 0. These are all numbered out of $100. Out of 100. Sick card.
Wow, that's
BGS
cool.
1 of 6, none graded higher. This is $525. Now, I don't know where it ends, and I don't know how you guys do your math about no one cares about the big man. All that stuff is valid. This card right now is sitting at 1/11th of the price of the Kobe comparable version of this. And this is a collector's item. This is, I know it's out of 100, but I would venture to say that I think maybe there's 30 to 40 out there. It's one of those cards that it might be numbered out of 100, but it feels like half of them, if not more, are just never, ever seen. Whether they're stashed away, they got thrown away, who knows? This card, you might be able to get it for – it's one I'm curious of where it'll finish because you might be able to get this absolute steal, get it in time for National, and bring it. And this card is one that you could trade – you could throw comps away on this card because if someone truly wants it, if they're a Shaq collector, if they're a Flair Showcase collector, you're going to be able to make some real moves. It's an incredible card. It's one that any collector would want to have, and it's sitting at less than $1,000 with 1 day left.
I love it. I mean, it's cool. Those are cool cards. You don't see them too often, obviously, especially in grades like that. It's really, really nice. You like, Fleer, Showcase, Flair. You like those kind of things. Those are these cards you're looking at now, right?
I think they're really nicely made.
I mean, the grade's nice. There's there's funny stuff. You have to really like this stuff, but there's a cool card out there. I don't know whether or not you like this. The look of the card is what you're going with on that one. There's a really cool Brady rookie, but you kind of have to like it. You kind of have to like this card and like what they're doing on it. There's a Fleer Showcase Brady rookie.
Is it the one that you owned in a 10, BGS 10?
No. I owned the metal. I owned a metal one. I owned a metal in an SGC 10. This is a different one. This is the one. It's cool. You'll see it's 2000 Flair Showcase Brady. It's the one where he's like
autographed.
and it's auto. That's why I say you got to like this. You know what I mean? You have to. Yeah, this is one of those ones that you have to be. It's a Flair showcase, really popular.
I love how they
you
used
know,
him when he shaved his head. He looks like a dude from American History X. This fucking photo. Am I allowed to say that, Cage?
Yeah, I mean, he does. You're talking about Ed Norton's character in American History
Yeah.
X. I mean, really cool card. You just don't see these things too often, right? Because a lot of Brady's, it was a low draft pick. A lot of Brady's rookie cards don't have him in his pro uniform, the Patriot uniform. This does. This is weird because it's an aftermarket auto. So they took one of these cards that's already a numbered Brady card. So I think it's numbered out of 2000, for the year, and then got Brady to autograph the card and then slabbed it with a 10. It's just it's an interesting offering that's a little bit different than normal. From my deal, I mean, I'd rather have the out of 2000, but I don't mind this as autograph because it's an 8. You know what I mean? Like we talk about this, autograph the card or don't autograph the card, right? This was one that I don't mind. I kind of like it, and it's not a killer price. Another one I looked at. This card has always been an interesting card for me, and I was thinking about bidding on it myself. But I'll give you guys anyway. It's always great to tell thousands of people, "Hey, I like this card. I'm thinking about bidding on it. Please come bid against me." Right? But
think about that, guys. It's I don't often ask you guys, "Hey, try to put yourselves in our shoes," but in this scenario, I would ask for that. Like, a lot of these cards are cards we truly love from the bottom of our heart that we would want to buy, whether that's, for my own PC to offer to our crew on Whatnot for Cage. But we're like, we owe it to you guys. The only reason we're here is because all of you guys listen. So we're like I would love that Shaq. What if that Shaq would have finished before we talked about for $850? That's an incredible card. But I feel a sense of responsibility to be like, if I found it and I love it, I'm going to let free markets do its thing, and I'm going to tell you guys. So I respect that, Cage. What's the card? I'll look it up right now.
So what would you say go down as year and set in your lifetime as iconic sets, iconic brands? So don't go back past, the 90s, right? But obviously, I'll throw some out there, right? I mean, for me, like 86 Flair basketball, 2012 Prism goes down as
96 Chrome.
96 Chrome.
93 Finest.
The first, so 90. Don't even go past your first guess. 96 Chrome. It's about as iconic as it gets, right?
Very much so.
But they were still, feeling their way there. The cards weren't numbered. Sometimes they were damaged. A lot of cards were off centered. In 1990,
the print and the border sometimes are off too.
Yeah.
Like the BGS on surface because the.
I mean the cards are not so. There's a 1996 Derek Jeter refractor. So what's interesting about this card, right? It's his first Chrome, which carries some favor to it, right? And it's considered a, quote, rookie card. Bowman wasn't doing what Bowman does now with, the first Bowman when the guy is drafted. But Jeter does have earlier cards. He has a 1993 SP card. Jeter didn't come up till 95, played in 96. So this card is a legit, rookie card. It says Star Rookie on it, I believe.
This is cool. I've never seen this. It says Future Star.
Yeah, so that's even though it's a fourth year of licensed baseball card of him, I mean, everybody knows the 93 SP. He's got a Topps rookie card in 93. You know what I mean? Like your Future Star on it and the whole deal. So it's an odd thing because of that. Like, it's very hard for me to call this a rookie card of him because I mean, I guess it is a rookie. It's definitely his first Chrome because it's everyone's first Chrome. It was his first full year in the majors, but it's hard when there's a 1993 Topps and Topps Gold and all those other cards. Like, he's got a million brands from 1993 of cards. It's tough to have a 96, and I think that holds it down. But you want to take a guess how many PSA 9s of this card there are?
Can't be more than a handful. I would say 8.
43. There's 9 10s. There's 43 9s. There's not a lot of. I mean, this is a mass-produced, card with mass-produced set. There's not a lot of those out there, and obviously Jeter's about as hot as it gets right now. A documentary, it's All-Star Week, and all that other fun stuff. So that's just a cool one that I, you don't see often come up for sale, which is kind of like the theme, right? These cards don't come up for sale that often.
Can I tell you something I love?
Shoot.
And I think this is a testament to the technology more than the cards itself. It's guys, what you could do. We talk about Google as the best search algorithm in the world. What is that? It takes these words that you put in and it finds the best offerings for what you're searching. I think whatever PWCC is doing with its tech is also the same. So we just searched one card, but I'll show you an example of how one card could lead to another. So Cage, we searched Jeter Topps Chrome, right?
Mm-hmm.
And here's where the card that you love came up, right?
Mm-hmm.
First. But let's take a look. We have a 2007, which is also a very nice Topps Chrome Jeter
cool.
set.
Black border, right? Yeah.
Black border, where you're able to get this card, a PSA 10 Jeter. Now, we're not, you guys are like yesterday's episode, the comments were, some people can't buy $1,000 cards. 1,000%. Yesterday's episode was not about buying high level cards. It was about auditing honestly and objectively your collection. Well, right next to that $3,500 current bid of the first year Jeter refractor, Topps Chrome, you have a PSA 10 of Derek Jeter for $14 current bid. $14. And then if you want the refractor, you have, like I just said, people grading CSG, a ton of CSG slabs flooding the market, and you're seeing a white refractor numbered out of 660 for $21. So try to understand and get good at using the search tool as well, because one card can lead to absolute bargains for 2 more cards, 3 more cards.
And now you just three more cards that you probably would have bought are not going to get bought by you now. But this is fun. I mean, this is part of what we're doing on this stuff. Look at you. You got the Griffey.
Topps Chrome from the exact same year that Jeter is.
And that's a nice card. You want to see a card that I probably a lot of people won't love because it's not from their playing days. It's a sticker, but I think looks really cool. It's a kind of card that I think looks cool in an SGC slab. You want to take a look at a card? And if you're a hockey fan, this might be one that you're able to add that doesn't cost what you would think it would cost for the names that are on it. If you can.
SGC is what I'm searching.
SGC 2010 Gretzky. You can put in Gretzky.
I just searched Gretzky and found another cool card. I wasn't listening to you. Say it again. I apologize.
You can put in 2010 Gretzky, Gretzky, and it'll probably be the one of the top ones that come up.
I'm not an idiot.
You put SGC if you want in it also, and I'm sure it'll come up. There it is. This is a dual auto, numbered to 25, from the Upper Deck World of Sports release of Wayne Gretzky and Mario Lemieux. The only people who ever get into a debate I'm talking about you, about whether or not Gretzky is the GOAT. The only name that ever comes up from that 1% of people who want to argue that he's not is Mario Lemieux. So you have both of them on this card. And
numbered out of 25, Cage.
10 autos out of 25. And it's a couple $100 right now. So just an interesting one. And I think it looks pretty cool in that SGC slab.
I agree. There's a lot of cards that you're gonna find in, for example, I found a Ted Williams last week that sold for $30 game used gear that I've converted into a SGC slab because I just thought it looked better in that slab. So the aesthetic of choosing the right grading company for these PC items is also equally cool. Like not everything has to be, hey, I'm buying this and I'm trying to flip it. Like some items are just amazing collector's items that get lost in kind of the bunch of cards that are available every single week that you're able to add to your PC, add to your collection, use this time to not just go, bargain hunting so in 2 years you're selling this card for 10x profit. Hey, maybe it's something that you love that you want to stash away, and 2 years prior to this or a year prior to this card was 10x what it was, and now you're able to gobble it up. So there's 2 ways to play PWCC.
I agree. And look, it dovetails with the auction yesterday, with our episode yesterday, right? The point was, do an audit of your collection and then buy what you are able to buy with what you're auditing, right? Not go out and try to buy $1 million card. Not many people can do that. But there's other ways of looking at it, right? When you can get through some of the the downturn, or some of the, let's call it flatline consolidation period, which we probably are also in now. I thought of two things yesterday. One, different things that are going to become relevant a couple years from now that aren't as relevant now. David Peck, we had him on. He was our first guest on the show. It's important to bring him up, right? Today, 2 years in, 740 episodes later, we had him on as our first guest, and nobody cared about wrestling cards. And definitely during his tenure, no one cared about wrestling cards. He was the first one to grade several, dozen of these wrestling cards. And now everyone wants wrestling cards, right? He was buying what he loved. He was grading cards. He was buying these cards. And these 82 Wrestling All-Star cards during this run-up became huge money. Maybe there's another one of those out there. Maybe during this time you're buying, I have no idea, Stranger Things cards, right? And maybe in the next run-up, season 6 is coming out, and all of a sudden everybody wants Hopper autographs. I have no idea, right? But another person that came to my mind, and I apologize if I prevent you, Drake, from getting this card at a bar.
Drew Brees.
No, I'm talking about Peyton Manning.
Okay.
Right? And Breeze could be it too. Maybe something happens with Breeze in a couple of months or a couple of years, whatever it is. Maybe he's coaching.
Breeze is cooked. Breeze is the Dan Marino of this generation. Drake,
possibly.
You at National, don't punch me in the face for that.
No, but he cares about Peyton Manning. So Peyton Manning is one of those ones where, people are obviously starting to find his cards now. But I'm sure a Manning collector is probably happy if prices come down a little bit, and the Mannings come down a little bit with it, because there are cards that don't come up that often and maybe come out of the woodwork and they can add, and then the next time the market goes up. And I'm talking about hundreds of $1,000 cards, but there is one in this auction. It's slabbed SGC with an authentic.
Shit.
What?
Oh, my mind is blown. Are you ready for this?
Well, yeah, I mean.
Oh, we might get into a pot of boiling water for this one. Oh, no.
Well, I was going to point out the 1998 playoff contenders Peyton Manning rookie ticket autograph, which doesn't come up. Yeah, there you go. There's one too.
1998 Leaf.
Yeah, it's Leaf rookies and stars. That's the original Crusade, by the way. You know how Crusade cards? Doesn't this look like the Crusade? I know this card.
Cage. Not only do I think this looks like Crusade, Hotshot from our community he loves the Crusade set. He's been buying it up. So I've seen this in person. When I first looked at it, I had to do a double take. I thought that was a 98 Panini Crusade. You think they just took the design?
I don't know what happened, but I tell you, look, imitation is the most sincere form of flattery, right? I've mentioned a bunch of times where Leaf has done things that, kind of look similar to things that other companies have done after the fact. It's an interesting thing, right?
That's guys be the judge. You guys could search 1998 Leaf Crusade Peyton Manning. You might be able to just search Manning, and this will come up.
By the way, this is even a better card than what I was talking about. I was saying, hey, Peyton Manning, he's doing the TV stuff. He's got this Omaha company. Who knows in 5 years, 10 years what Peyton Manning's going to be doing? And this is a PSA 10 gorgeous card that's at $300. Mine was a little more expensive than that, and it's because this is a high-end one. That card is cool, but what Andrew's asking is take a look at the card. Take a look at the card. There are a lot of Manning cards in here. The one there you go, left side. You got it. White A, SGC A. Look at that card. When do you see that? You see the Contenders Brady auto come up in almost like every auction. This is an autographed rookie ticket. The signature is not the greatest thing on earth, which is probably why I think it's on A. But I mean, when was the last time you saw one of these? I mean, it just doesn't come up that often. And it's an SGC authentic. It is it is what it is here. But I mean, the card itself is just one that you just don't see. So I'm not telling you to buy this one.
Who owned Contenders back then? I'm curious. I love the history of cards as well. Like, guys, we now see Panini Contenders, right? But this is 1998. Who owned Contenders? And I'm not putting you on the spot because I think 99.9% of the people listening wouldn't even know. And I don't know, and it doesn't say it on the back of the card, but I think this history of not the players, of the cards is also equally fascinating. So this is the 1998 Manning Contenders auto. You guys can search it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure it might have been his own company when it first came out, I think. Contenders football. I remember buying Contenders in the early '90s, and it was a really cool box. The Contenders cards were they were for shiny stuff. I remember a Marshall Faulk rookie one. There were these Hog Heaven cards that I've talked about here. I think I have one graded. I have an Emmitt Smith. I think I graded it myself from when I was a kid, 7 years old. Not 7 years old. I got a PSA 7 on it. Contenders, man. Yeah, I don't know the answer. I honestly don't know the answer.
That's the beauty of it. There's so many cards. There's so much history. There's so much lineage that I think it's almost impossible to know everything. I think the graders sometimes can't know everything because, a lot of the stuff wasn't even documented, Cage. 98, who documented the merger of these companies? Probably back.
Wow. All right. Yeah, now I want to look it up.
We will.
Yeah,
we will.
Contenders football dates back to 1992. There you go. A co-founders of a company called Optographics. Now you know why I loved it, because Optographics, you know what they made? Sportflix, which I talk about all the time. There you go. 100%. Sportflix cards.
It all dovetails.
The ones that that I talk about all the time, right? 93, they made on the Playoff Corp, secured the rights to NFL licensing, and Playoff Contenders football card brand was born. So it was a playoff company in those 90s when I was doing those cards. 98. In 98, Playoff Corp acquired a number of brands as a result of the recent consolidation. So 98, consolidation. Interesting, right? Did I use the word consolidation period? So you had that craziness going on in the 90s, and then 98, there was a consolidation period. Wow, this is an article I'm reading. It's on GTS's website, the distributor's website, using these same words.
Doesn't necessarily repeat, but it sure does rhyme, right?
It sure does. May of 96, Pinnacle Brands had acquired Donruss, Leaf to their stable brand, acquired Score, Action Packed in 95. But in 98, just 2 years later, Pinnacles, the company that bought Donruss, Leaf, filed for bankruptcy and was acquired by Playoff Corp. Consolidation.
And then Panini bought Playoff Corp?
Right? It looks like 98, 99, new stuff. So 98, everything changed. The most iconic inserts in 1998, the rookie ticket autograph, the card we just talked about. Pretty crazy, right? Playoffs had a winning formula. Yeah, go ahead.
So, guys, there's been documentaries made about the hobby. Something that I thought would be a nice white space that I'm personally interested in, but it's more of a long-term project, is creating whether it's a magazine, a video documentary, or a book, or maybe a combination of the three of kind of the history of sports cards. I think it would be incredibly fascinating to see under one cover, under one roof, kind of the history of sports cards and the lineage and all that stuff. I think
March of 09, Donruss Playoff, the company that was putting all these together, was bought by Panini.
And then they released Pinnacle remember Giannis had a Pinnacle rookie card.
Yep, 2010 Playoff Contenders became a Panini brand for the first time. So there you go. So it's on GTS, guys. You don't have to look too far to find these, fun stories out. I think it's hilarious that I didn't know this as a kid, but what drew me to those early Contenders shiny cards and the whole deal, 93, 94, 95 of Bledsoe and Marshall Faulk and Emmitt Smith was the same owners were making the Sportflix cards that I liked in the 80s. It's so funny. It's funny the stuff. So can I tell you a cool card? Because
sure.
When I mention the name Wilt Chamberlain, what do you think of? What is Wilt Chamberlain? Women, right? Would you say that he was a conquistador? Come on, you were in Mexico. Would you say that? So do me a favor and pull up the 1974 Topps Basketball Wilt Chamberlain card.
I'm just searching Wilt.
Okay, you can if you like.
I'm doing it to prove a point. Because Cage is out here rattling off incredible opportunities.
There it is, the third card.
But I'm also showcasing live for you guys how you don't have to necessarily know the exact card you're buying to go and just search a name that you might be collecting and enjoy just like the window shopping as well and see if something catches your eye. What's this sick card?
The Conquistadors or the Qs.
Why is he so upset? Smile, Wilt.
Why is he so upset? Well, he's playing for the San Diego Conquistadors in the ABA for a start. But isn't this a gorgeous card?
I don't know how much better it gets, Cage. Living in San Diego playing basketball professionally? Come on now.
I mean, what's funny about the Conquistadors, if memory serves, was they were an ABA expansion team. They weren't one of the original teams. Like, they came in 72, 73, and it was weird the way the ABA worked was it wasn't like you could take players from other teams. They weren't like protected. So there was like a draft, like the expansion. Okay, here you go. We know we're protected players. So you were able to just take, players. It was pretty funny. Because of that, people thought the Conquistadors were going to be, pretty terrible. Unprotected players. So basically, like, it was like when the Marlins of Colorado came in. The teams.
Do you see the irony of that? Don't conquistadors, don't they conquer land? And then you could go and conquer their players? No?
Well, it was like, the crappy players. It was like the players that nobody wanted. You had to protect your good players and then leave people, unprotected. And then you had to draft the rest of the players, from their team. Their coach, Casey Jones, eventually won championships with the Boston Celtics. So that was pretty cool. No crazy guys in their first year, but as you can see, come on now, they signed.
Wilt is still top 23, top 30% PWCCA. Really nice card. Really nice card. It says Coach Center.
Correct. So that's a fun little history, little nugget for you, right? We get on LeBron for being Le GM, right? But Wilt was Lord in the second year here, so this is like 73, 74, by the owner of the Conquistadors. Two things. One, the ability to be player coach, and what at that time was amazing money, a $600,000 contract. $600,000.
Didn't Bill Russell have to get $601? Or was that magic? No, they talked about that in what was that show? The HBO show with Showtime Lakers.
Yeah. So
that's how competitive these guys were. They even wanted you have to give me $601,000.
So here's why it gets great, right? Because I'm a lawyer, right? This card is a piece of history, right? And it's funny, the first thing that your eye gravitated to was the fact that it said coach on it, right? So San Diego wanted to do this. They wanted to get Wilt in the ABA. They wanted to get him to play for them. But the Lakers sued to prevent Wilt Chamberlain from playing for the Conquistadors, even though he is one of the world's greatest conquistadors, as you succinctly pointed. And a court in California ruled that if Wilt played basketball in the 73-74 season, he would have to play with the Lakers based on that lawsuit. However, the court also said, while Wilt's contract with the Lakers for that season was valid, it wouldn't prevent him from coaching for the Conquistadors. So he was basically just a gate attraction, right? And while his only role with the team was coaching, which included he could play in team scrimmages.
That's so weird.
Think about what basketball was like in the 70s. And if you haven't seen the movie Semi-Pro, which if you're coming to National, you guys know we love Semi-Pro. I may have some Semi-Pro little tie-ins for you guys.
You OGs know what's good.
Yeah, you guys know. You guys know one of our plays, little Semi-Pro plays, right? But early in the season,
don't eat the gum.
Yeah, don't eat the gum. Well, I mean, by this point, I have some graded ones.
Do you really? Remember last year's National when Kevin and Gotti went to collectible, and then we went to the open bar with those guys?
Yeah.
We had some of those Semi-Pro cards.
Yeah, we were giving them out. I'll have more. You'll see at the National. It's fun stuff. I always have some, fun stuff. But, look, this did not work out. It's one of those interesting things, for history. It became like a legal thing. I'm surprised there isn't like a movie made about it. Maybe there is, and I just don't know about it, right?
Impossible.
So lots of fun. And, the Conquistadors actually weren't that bad. Wilt actually brought some credibility and some players like Caldwell Jones who came over. And the original, not Machine Gun Kelly, but Travis Machine Gun Grant. And, they actually won a few games and stuff like that. So anyway, it's a fun little thing in story. It's a fun little deal. And coach, right? Coach. So take a look at this card. It is a gorgeous card. It's Wilt's Topps card for the year. And he's an ABA Conquistador coach. And
they had to have respected Wilt, right? Like they're like that's like I know he just showed up to be coach, but like that's guy was better than every player on the team.
Yeah, he's he's having a lot of fun. I mean, listen, this team was an interesting thing. A lot of fun. I'm surprised we don't have anything about it. They were trying to move him to Las Vegas to Los Angeles, which would have been really funny. And yeah, so it's a lot of fun. So this card is one of these like unique, cards that are out there from a hobby story, sports story that people don't even realize. And here he is, Wilt the Conquistador, and it's got eye appeal. This is a 9 that that could possibly be a 10. So it's a cool looking card. That is all I'll go with. Wilt the Conquistador in mint 9, and it's not exactly that expensive. Anything else? I mean, there's a cool Connor David, the Cup auto patch in PSA 9, which is really nice that you want to take a look at. Everybody's all over Tua right now. Yeah, man. Tua's because he got Tyreek Hill. They're putting
he can't throw to him. He can't throw that far accurately.
Well, you say that, but I'm telling you, if you look at Tua's chart, I mean, you pull up Card Ladder if you want. The indexes on these people. If you look at the prices on Tua's cards, people are expecting big things out of Tua because Miami gave him all the weapons that he, could have asked for there, and people are saying if he's going to succeed, yeah. I mean,
that's the equivalent of the Lakers or the Nets. This is what happens when you see that. The expectations go like this, like this, like this.
Mm-hmm.
And anything that – when you raise expectations, you have way more room to fall underneath of them.
I agree. And, it's tough when we agree on things. I don't think Tua is a play, but we are in the significant minority. I'm telling you, I don't know if Card Ladder has the ability to do this. I'm sure they do. You could look up like a chart of a player or just look at recent sales of Tua. He is up. I would guarantee you he's the most expensive card right now in the weekly auction.
17%.
The most expensive while everything else is basically down. The most expensive card in the weekly auction is a Tua.
Up 17% according to Card Ladder.
So people are definitely buying Tua. I'm sure people are going to be looking for him at the National because people are expecting Miami to make some noise. Think about, the AFC East. Yeah, Buffalo's great. Josh Allen is in, MVP discussions. But, Mac Jones, we don't know what we're getting out of Mac Jones. Zach Wilson, to, warn your mom. But other than that, you don't know what you're getting out of Zach Wilson, right?
There it is. Last month, there's the index from 837 to 986.
Nice little up arrow, right, for the Tua index. And good job, Card Ladder. Look at that. We say, hey, I'm sure Card Ladder has an index of this guy, and boom, there it is. And you can look at his prices. There is a really cool Stars and Stripe National Treasures RPA out of 20 in PSA 9. It's currently the most expensive card in the auction. It's cool to look at. If you want to pull it up, it has a sick patch. Like, the patch on it is amazing. This is, if there's one request from the hobby out there to Panini, a card like this, that's one of his best cards, numbered to 20, Stars and Stripes, on an RPA that people are going to be buying. If you can continue to use patches like this, people would love it. See the patch on it?
I'm looking it up. Oh, here's a card too.
See, this is, by the way, also valuable to
nice.
people.
Yeah. I found 2 sick Tua patches for you guys, so I'll show Cages first, and I'll
show these, and then we'll sign off with a thank you. There you go. Look at that. It's a piece of the dolphin. It's a piece of the dolphin from the uniform. It's pretty sick.
It's probably from Dan Marino's day because it's not associated with Tua. Anybody who's ever known him or seen him.
It's Snowflake. It's Snowflake the dolphin.
This is another one right here.
That's cool, but that's a shield.
That's a shield 1/1 Tua. We need to stop grading 1/1s, guys, because the 7 grade makes it look worse.
Some people like it in a slab, protected, and that the 7 doesn't make a difference, and they'll pay the same as raw for 7. And I guess if you do get a 9 or a 10, it may add a little bit of value to it. I mean, I understand why people do it.
I understand why they grade it. I would just say a 7 makes it look worse for me. Actually, that's an interesting debate. Would you guys rather this 1/1 in an authentic slab? A 7? Would you rather an SGC? Would you rather a BGS or PSA? I'm curious because I think this is a gorgeous card. I'm not a
Well, let me ask you: if I gave you this card, would you crack it out of that case?
I want it in a case because I want it authentic, but I don't want it with a 7. I hate 7s.
So you'd go with authentic over a 7. There you go. There's your answer.
For sure.
All right, folks. There's another episode, and it's an important one. 740 in. This is the first episode of year 3. We have, we've completed 2 full seasons. Happy birthday to your dad. And to anybody out there, who is listening to this, watching this on YouTube, thank you. Thanks for letting us get to 2 full years, 740 episodes, and thanks for letting us start year 3. Send us some messages and let us know what you want to hear in season 3. Because good.
I have to put my foot in my mouth.
What'd you do?
I said last Monday was the last time you guys could sub cards for SGC to get them by National. The cards that were subbed last Monday, the grades already popped by Friday. So we might be able to get one more sub in before National.
The turnaround time has been crazy. It's been fast. Take care, everybody.
So thank you all for listening to another episode of Lucas, Tigers, and Bronzo My. I wanted to tell you about a new service that we have starting as of today, and I'm really, really excited to bring it to you guys. So as a part of our partnership with SGC, we got 50 free submissions every single month, and many of you have taken advantage of that. And it's amazing that we could have the opportunity to 650 episodes, 675 episodes in, to go ahead and give back to our community. As people were sending those cards in, they asked, can we send 5, 10, 20 more cards to you guys? We'll pay for it, but we wanted them graded with SGC. You guys know SGC is turning cards around in 13 to 14 business days, have incredible customer service, and their secondary market values are going up day after day after day. And that's exciting for the hobby and exciting for the grading landscape. So we didn't want to just rush into it. We wanted to do it right. And what we did was I relocated here to Boca Raton, Florida. I opened up a P.O. box maybe 5 minutes away from SGC, and I will be hand delivering and hand picking up the cards. So you don't have to worry about anyone else touching your cards. It will be me, and I will update you every step of the way. So here's how it's going to work. I'm going to personally pick up the cards from a P.O. box, prep them, new card saver, new penny sleeve, and deliver them to SGC every single Tuesday. Why Tuesday? Well, it lets the stragglers over the weekend come back through on Monday and gives me a day to prep, and it basically gives SGC the entire week to work on grading those cards. Once your cards pop, only then at the end of the process will you be paying for the service. It's $25 per card, simple as that, and the turnaround times have never been faster. We're hearing right now 13, 14, less than 20 business days. So there it is. 9170 Glades Road, number 135 is the P.O. Box in Boca Raton, Florida, 33434. 9170 Glades Road, number 135, Boca Raton, Florida, 33434. Of course, you could shoot me an email or shoot me a text anytime, and I'm always available. Many of you already have my email. It's iamandrewgoldberg@gmail.com. or my cell phone number, 215-519-9154. Reach out with any questions. I could walk you through the process. I've hopped on the call with quite a few of you, and I'm happy to do that. Love you, Luka Nation.